It's Tuesday morning. I've only gotten one order between yesterday and today. The only thing that sold was this plague doctor mask. It's a long nose raven bird mask. And this sold for a whopping $4.32. This is an item that I picked up at a now defunct bin store. I've talked before about these bin stores that cherry pick their items. Well, this is one that closed up probably just over a year ago. And it was a small bin store, but I was going about once a week. But he was cherry picking his items. And, you know, that can spell death for a bin store. You know, there's a kind of popular YouTuber that had a bin store, and they showed videos of them getting their pallets in, pulling out the good stuff, putting the less desirable items out in the bins, and they had to close their bin store. And I've long said that, you know, that's not a very good idea. The bin store that I mainly source from, they're not cherry picking, or they're cherry picking very little. But if you go into a bin store, you're hoping to find some really good things. So if the owner of that bin store is pulling the premium items out of there, it really loses a lot of its appeal, and they end up shutting down. So anyway, this item came from that bin store. As a matter of fact, there have been 2 bin stores in my area that have closed because they're cherry picking items. And there are 2 more which are owned by the same company that are not doing very well. I honestly thought they would have been closed by now. But when you walk in, you see bins and bins full of junk, and anything that's a good item is up either behind the counter on shelves or stacked up kind of in a separate area, priced individually. Now, the prices on the better items, they're okay. They're not great. Cheaper than maybe what you would pay for them on Amazon. But this item came from that closed down bin store, and I'm pretty sure that I got that in the $5 fill of bags that they used to do. And we would only go to this bin store whenever it was $1 a day or $5 fill a bag, just because any days that were $2 or more just wasn't worth it for resale. And even if you weren't reselling, there wasn't a whole lot to be found in this bin store because they were cherry picking anything that was pretty good. So for $5 fill a bag, where I can fit maybe 15 or 20 or 25 items in a bag, that was doable. So anyway, that's the one singular item that sold basically in the last 24 hours. I did wake up this morning to a nice, juicy negative feedback, which has brought my feedback down to like 98.7%. And I recently spoke about negative feedbacks and the fact that I try very hard. I don't sloppily pack my orders. I try to get them out as soon as possible. I've got pretty decent prices, I believe, on these items. But people will focus on one little minor thing and give you bad feedback over that. But in the case of this negative feedback, I think this is the most unreasonable buyer that I have ever dealt with on eBay. I don't know how many transactions I've had over the past couple years, because it's now been 2 years that I've been selling on eBay part-time. But I'm selling about 1,200 and something items a year, so roughly 2,500 items. And this buyer takes the cake. This was an Elsa from Frozen Build-A-Bear. The buyer paid $10.06 plus shipping. This is the buyer that I talked about that sent me a message asking me to wait 9 days for her to pay. Well, I'm saying to her, for them to pay. And they even gave me instructions in the message on how to change how my store was structured, you know, about canceling orders after 4 days or whatever. And my store is set up to where orders do not cancel right away, but this buyer didn't know that. So they were basically saying, I'm going to commit to buying this item, but I want to wait 9 days to pay. And if you don't know how to do it, here are the instructions. So that whole thing kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but this item has been sitting for at least 1.5 years, and I was glad to move it. So I didn't have any problem with waiting the 9 days. Now, the buyer did not take the full 9 days to pay. I think they paid in, 5 days. But I should have known that this buyer was this type of buyer from the message they sent with the instructions on how to basically change my whole store to suit them. So let me show you the feedback that they left. Item was packaged very poorly and in too big of a box with only newspaper. Box came smashed and was partially opened. Surprised the items inside were not damaged. This was a stuffed animal. This was a plush. Sometimes I ship plush in bags, just depending on what it is. This one was a little bit bigger, so I put it in a box. Now, please, if if I'm wrong here, let me know in the comments. You know, tell me how I am a horrible packer because I put a plush in a box. Because I'm not seeing a real problem with that. I did put some newspaper as packing material inside just to kind of keep the plush from moving around very much. But I do have a lot of issues with this particular buyer. And again, this one takes the cake. As a matter of fact, I responded to this negative feedback because it's so egregious. I even left the false positive on them, which I've never done. I never do that. But this feedback was so ridiculous that, you know, I did it. Will eBay remove it? Probably, because eBay loves to help out the buyers quite a bit more than the seller. So I just kind of expect that eBay might remove that false positive. But let's move on. The feedback says the item was packed poorly. Well, it's a stuffed animal. It's nothing. I mean, it just should sit in a box. Okay, I don't see a problem with that. They said the box was too big. Well, the box was slightly bigger than the plush, but it's not like it was twice as big or anything. How often do we pack orders and the box is not exactly the right box? That's what happened here. It was not too big. As a matter of fact, I don't want to send a box that's too big because then the shipping may go up either due to weight or for the dimensions. So the box was not very much bigger than the plush. The box came smashed and partially open. Okay, well, you know what? When I packed that plush, the box was not smashed, nor was it partially open. So if that happened, probably USPS sat something on it and maybe it got crushed. But what's inside that box? A stuffed animal. How much damage could a smashed box do to a plush? Probably none. And if the box was partially open, that probably is in line with them sitting something on the box and maybe one of the flaps came loose from the tape. They were surprised that the item was not damaged. So this buyer was surprised that a stuffed animal was not damaged due to a box being crushed. I mean, I gotta say, I'm pretty shocked about that myself. I can't imagine a stuffed animal not being damaged with a crushed box. Because they're made out of what? Glass? Oh, no, they're not glass. Maybe it's wood. Well, no, it's not wood. Oh yeah, it's fabric and stuffing. So I think there's only two options here. Either A, I have no idea how to pack plush and I'm just the most ridiculous plush packer that exists on eBay, or the buyer is completely nuts. So let me know in the comments which one it is. If you say I'm nuts, I'll take your word for it. Normally, I don't really look at buyers' feedback. In this case, I did after I got the negative. And looking at their feedback, they've got 98.4% positive, and they've sold 180 items. It doesn't look like they have anything listed for sale right now, but it does look like they sold maybe half a dozen items in May. But for whatever reason, I can't access any feedback for this buyer. Maybe they blocked me or something, I don't know, but you know, I didn't try to look until after I got the negative feedback. So I don't know, maybe they left negative feedback and then blocked me. I'm not really sure. But it doesn't look like they have any items for sale right now. I did look at their detailed seller ratings, and I mean, they're kind of low, I think, by most people's standards. Accurate description, 4.5. Reasonable shipping cost, 4.1. Shipping speed, 4.5. Communication, 4.3. And they have 211 positive and 4 negatives, which seems like a lot for apparently a low volume seller. The thing is, this buyer wanted me to wait for payment. I did wait for payment. They got their item. They got their item without any damage. It was shipped quick, and they still gave me negative feedback on a bunch of what ifs. Like they were surprised that the item didn't get damaged, so you got negative feedback. That's like me ordering something from somebody, and you know, getting it in and then leaving negative feedback because, well, a meteor could have hit the mail truck on the way to my house. Well, it could have, but it didn't. So enough about this stupidity. Let me show you the items that I picked up at estate sales this weekend. All right, it may be kind of loud in here, I'm not sure, but let me show you what the temps are right now. It is 96 with a heat index of 112. So I have to have the air conditioners running right now. From this estate sale, I only bought, well, not two things, but two different items. One was this In the Kitchen with David cookbook. I know, surprise, surprise, another cookbook. This one is going to be for me, though. I actually watch QVC when I can on Wednesday nights or on the replay on their app. And one of the shows I watch is In the Kitchen with David. He does some cooking gadgets, cooking appliances, and some food and things like that. And this estate sale was 30% off. The cookbooks were marked $3. So I paid, you know, I don't know, $1.80, $1.90, something like that. But the book retails for $30. I don't know if this has any resale value, but again, I didn't buy it for a resale. And the other item that I picked up here, where I picked up a set of 7 of these soup bowls. And I don't think these are anything special necessarily. There was no brand on the bottom, but I did comp these. These were marked $15 for the set of 7 of them. So I'm sure there was probably 8 and one got broken at some point. And I think it would have been like $10.50 for the set of 7. I thought that was a little much, so I offered them 8. They're all in pretty good shape. I got them here in the bag, so I'm not going to take those out. At another estate sale, I'm trying to get out the shadow here. Another estate sale, I picked up this rice or ramen bowl. It's Japanese rice or ramen bowl. Now, oddly enough, I just sold one of these last week. And this one is, I believe it's the exact same one, same brand and everything. This estate sale was 40% off, which they claim that their prices are good enough where 40% off will make them competitive with other estate sales. I kind of disagree. So when I went to check out, I asked them about this bowl, and you know, it's marked 8, and I asked them if they would take 3, and she told me that she could only take 4, and that would be it. So I ended up passing on it. I went back in the estate sale to go look for Kim, and I asked her one more time on the way out if she's sure that you won't take 3. She's like, well, all right, I'll take 3, but I didn't sell it to you. So I ended up paying 3 for that. The one that I sold last week, I sold for like $12 and some change, which was a little cheaper than some of the comps were, because there were comps up to about $24 on it, but I was running a sale on my store, so it went for a little bit cheaper. The next item is a Radio Shack voice recording photo album. Comps were not very strong on this, and really the only reason I bought it was because it was marked $3, so that means it was about, you know, $1.60, $1.70 or something like that. When I saw it, it was out of the box. It still had the bubble wrap and the book and everything, but there were batteries in it. So I don't know if it's been used or what. It looked like it was brand new. I'm guessing maybe I can get $12 or so for this. The last item from that estate sale was this Food Lovers fat loss system. And I didn't look super close, but I think it's still new in the box. Comps for these were up to about $25. And I don't remember if they were pre-owned or not, but this didn't have a price on it. So I asked the girl, how much was it? She said, well, what is it? And I said, it's some kind of fat loss system. She's like, well, how about $5 and it'll be 40% off of that. So I was like, you got a deal. So nothing really too great from that estate sale. From the next estate sale, again, I know it's a shocker, another cookbook. This cookbook looks pretty good. This estate sale was 50% off. This cookbook was $4, was marked $4. So it would have been $2. The funny thing is about this estate sale company, the guy that runs it, that checks the people out, when I bring cookbooks up there, he always looks through them. He says, I like to see the recipes that people stick in them, and this one's got quite a few. So I don't know if I'm going to sell this one or not. I don't know, I might end up selling it, but either way, I only paid $2 for it. I was in one of the rooms and I found these 3 items. Well, this is 3 items, but they were in this bag. So first I found this game, which was Score 4. Comps were good enough on it that I thought it'd be worth picking up. It was marked 5, so I had to pay $2.50 for it. And the little, I don't know, spaceship here was marked 10. And these 3 motorcycles in this bag were marked 15. Looking at the comps on all these items, I just didn't think there was enough profit even at 50% off of these prices. So this would have been 5, this would have been $7.50, so that would have been $12.50 for these, and this would have been $2.50, so it would have been $15. And I think I offered him, what did I offer him, 10? I think I offered him 10 for everything, and he came back with $11.25. He did some kind of stuff on his calculator or his POS system, but he came back with $11.25, so I said I'll take it. Comps on this, I saw one sold at $18. I saw some listed as high as $30. The motorcycles, I'm not sure about this one, but I believe these are Tonka, and I don't remember what the comps were, but they were pretty good on these. So I need to check those out a little closer and check this one too to see if it's got any value. And for the game, I don't remember what the comps were, but they were plenty strong enough that I wanted to pick it up. So after I got this stuff, that's when I brought in the cookbook. And I asked him because there was no prices marked what the cookbooks were, and he said most of them were 4. So I threw it into my pile. And then I went into the kitchen and I found these glasses. They had a set of 2 Garfield glasses, and these were $5 each. And these are red Avon glasses. They were $3 each. So these would have been $1.50 each, and these would have been, what did I say, $5? Yeah, $2.50 and $1.50. Looking at the comps on all these, again, that there just wasn't enough profit there. So I made him an offer on all the glasses together, and I'm trying to remember what it was. I think maybe offered him $1 for each glass, and there were 4 of these and 2 of these, so 6 total. Maybe I offered 8. I don't really, it must have been $8. I think after everything was said and done, I paid about $21. From the next estate sale Sunday, I got this York's AM/FM TV weather band electronic digital clock. I checked the comps on it. I don't remember exactly what they were. I know it works because it was actually plugged in and playing when I was there. So what was it marked? Let's see. Oh, you know what? This thing didn't have a price. Everything was half off at this estate sale. She said it should have been marked 16, so it would be 8. I'm like, that's a little bit more than I could put into it. She asked me how much I'd be willing to pay. I said $5. She said sold. So that was 5. Next was this Casio HR100TM adding machine. It does have the power cord adapter with it. It was marked 6, so I had to pay 3. I did check it out and it works fine. There was this Snoopy and Woodstock fork. It was marked $1, so I only had to pay 50 cents for that. Comps, I think, were around $10 for that. There was also this Barbie here that I don't remember what it's called, and it did kind of look like comps were all over the place on this. I think she told me it was 8 or 4. Yeah, this wasn't marked. And I asked her about this item also, and she told me, I expected her to say a little more, but she said it was should have been marked 8, and so it'd only be 4, so I only paid 4 for that. There was this little massager here. What is that, an Oster or Oster massager? It was marked 6, so I only had to pay 3, and comps were about $25 on this. I also picked up this Time Cube and weather radio receiver. This was marked 10, so of course I only had to pay 5. I only found one comp on this exact model, and it really wasn't great, so I really kind of thought this over, but I think there's enough profit here that it's going to be worth me picking it up. There are some different models than this one that sell for a little bit lower. I can't really remember what the comps were, but it's enough that I'm going to make a little money on it. And of course I picked up some cookbooks. These were $2 each. This is the First Pentecostal Church, Minden, Louisiana. Amite Baptist Church, Denham Springs, Louisiana. Culinary Treasures from Louisiana Credit Unions. I didn't comp any of these. If the cookbooks that I have listed don't sell after a period of time, I'll just lot them up, and even with lotting them up, I'll still make a profit. But most of the time I don't like paying more than $2, maybe $2.50 for the cookbooks. The last item I bought from that estate sale was this illuminated magnifier. And I bought this for myself. You know, I'm getting old, and sometimes when I'm looking at items, I really need to magnify them. Usually I'll take my phone and put it on the camera and look, but that's not always convenient. These last items I'm showing you are from an estate sale that I went to Saturday. I was actually working Saturday. Kim was also working, and she sent me a text message and told me there was an estate sale that was 50% off right down the road from where I was working. So when I got done with work, I went by that estate sale and bought a few things. This was the first thing. It's a Team Tony Kellogg's breakfast bunch. It's a suction cup bowl that says cornflakes, and it's got the rooster there. I saw one sold comp for $15. I didn't look to see if there were any more listed, but this was just so cool, and the fact that it's still in the package, that I couldn't leave it. It was marked 8, so I only had to pay 4. I did not comp any of these cookbooks because they were all marked at $3, so they were only $1.50 each. I got this Baptist Dishes Worth Blessing. I don't know if this is a local cookbook or not. Oh, it's signed by the author. Pelican Publishing Company, Gretna. So Gretna's in Louisiana. It's around New Orleans. So that looks like it is a local cookbook. I didn't look through it or anything like that. There was In Good Taste. This is something, I think it's at Washington State. Yeah, Brighton Court Retirement Community, Linwood, Washington. Oddly enough, my son lives, he doesn't live in Linwood, but he lives right by Linwood in Washington. The Covered Dish. Now, I don't know if this is a homemade cookbook or what. It certainly looks like it. But looking at the recipes in it, the recipes were really good. Central Catholic High School, St. Mary Parish School Board. So yeah, this is a local cookbook. Raider Cooking. I think this one was Mississippi, Tylertown, Mississippi. November 30th, 1987. And Holiday Cookbook, Favorite Recipes of Home Economics Teachers, July 1971. I also picked up this Strabo frame, professional flash bracket, and I picked it up for, it was marked 10, so I had to pay 5. It's new in the package. I saw one sold comp for like $25 free shipping. I didn't look to see if any more were listed, but for $5, you know, I'll definitely take a chance on that. So that's what I picked up at the one estate sale Saturday and the 4 Sunday. Today is Wednesday, and I've got one sale going out today for a total of $11.09 plus shipping. Yesterday I only had one sale, so that means 2 sales in 2 days. The only real problem with making a what sold video is when you don't really sell anything, but that's okay because I have some other things to talk about that are mostly reseller related. So first, let me pull this one order. I didn't pre-pull it just because it's right behind me in one of my bins. So my one and only order is in the H bin, and it is a sling bag. The sling bag came from Goodwill, and I'm almost positive that I paid $2 for this. I've had it a while. You know, most of the items here in my eBay room in those bins have been here for a while. Although lately I've been doing more listing in here, especially earlier in the morning. So some of those items do get put in here, but the majority of items in my eBay room have been here for over a year. So I know this has been here for over a year. I've still been listing every day. As a matter of fact, I listed till probably about midnight last night. I think I probably got 15 listings up. Not to mention I have a draft bank with some of those listings going live also. But it doesn't really seem to be helping my sales right now. I made an order from Amazon for a few items, and I want to show you those things because they are reseller related. Well, 2 of them more than the 3rd one. The first thing was a battery and charger for a Sony Handycam. I showed a Sony Handycam that I picked up at an estate sale not that long ago, and it did have a battery, but it didn't have a charger with it. So I don't know if the battery works or not, and of course I'm going to need a charger to test it out to sell it. So I picked up a battery and charger for like 12 bucks off of Amazon. So I got to go get that thing charged up and test out that Handycam. Because if it works, I mean, that's going to be a pretty good sale right there, especially considering that I have almost no money into it. I also purchased from Amazon this little Argbro thermal printer. When I was on Amazon the other day, this popped up as some kind of deal. I paid like $14 and some change for it. I got this for a couple reasons. Sometimes there are orders that I pack and I don't want the buyer using like a knife or something slicing too deep into the top of the box. So typically I'll just use one of my 4x6 labels. I'll go into the notepad on my computer and I'll put do not cut and put that big label there. But I was thinking maybe I could use this little label printer for that, and just to label other things around here. I can't really think of anything right off that I would need to label, but I definitely could do it, and it's pretty easy to use. I did have to download an app on my phone to use it, and I'm not real happy about that because it's a Chinese app, and well, you know the rest. But you have to have this app to be able to use the printer. Let's just try to make a new label. All right, it does see. There's little teeth in here where it makes a kind of clean cut, but you really need 2 hands for it. So you can change the font. I played with it a little bit last night. You can change the font, you can change the size. I mean, you are going to be limited by the size of the label, but I did think that this could come in handy for, I don't know what right now, but I'm sure I will find some uses for it. So I just wanted to throw that out there in case anybody is interested in a little thermal label printer. It says normal price is $25. Right now it's $17.99. Like I said, mine was like 14 something. There was some kind of little coupon with it. And the last item that I ordered from Amazon was a new scale. No, it is not this scale. I hate this scale with a passion that I can't even describe. I mean, it's up there with my second ex-wife, how much I hate it. So when I originally started selling on eBay, actually before I started, I bought this Accutech scale. And I used it for probably 6 or 8 months before it started giving me issues. I saw that other resellers were also using this scale. So I'm like, well, it's like 23 bucks or something. So I'll get it. I even recommended it to Kim whenever she started selling on eBay. But as it turns out, both of us have a problem with this scale. I do like the fact that it has the display where you can mount it up on a wall or something like that. But unfortunately, because of that display, I think that's where the problems come in. And it's where the cord connects into here, into the scale, and where it connects into here. Because as you can see, there's really nothing going on right now. But every time you move the cord, you get variances in the weight. Now look, I'm gonna move the cord here. Look at that. And it's in all the way. It's like not like the wires coming out or anything, but this has been frustrating me for a very long time. Now this scale that's here in my eBay room was the second one that I bought so I could have one in my listing lounge and one here in my eBay room. It's also an Accutech, and it has been 100%. I mean, 0 problems with it. I usually don't even ever have to zero it. I turn it on and it's right. But the other day I was doing some listing in my listing lounge and this thing was just going crazy. So I put something with a known weight of 2 pounds on it and it was showing like 7 point something ounces. You can see right now there's nothing on it and it's showing, well, it's going between 10.4, 10.5, 10.6. Let's zero it out. All right, now, oh, well, I was gonna move the cord. I didn't even do it and it's already messing up. So let me move that cord a little bit. So yeah, I really hate this scale. All right, let me put this cup on here. 2 pounds, let's go at 12.8 ounces. 3 pounds, 2.7 ounces. And this is the first time that I did a side-by-side comparison of them. But I was complaining the other day to Kim. I was like, why are my weights off? I had noticed that quite a few items lately were weighing more than the weights that I put in. And I'm very meticulous with my weights and my measurements. So I was telling Kim about this and I'm like, I think my scale is off. But I never went and weighed something here on the scale in my eBay room and then the one that was in my listing lounge. So right there, you can see there's a big difference and it was costing me money. I think these scales have a 10-year warranty, but to tell you the truth, I don't want another one of these with the detached display. Even if they send me a brand new one, I don't want it because I think it's unreliable, because Kim's was doing the exact same thing. So I would not recommend getting this scale, or you're probably going to have issues with it like we did. I guess that's about it for this video. I've got to run by the post office and drop off my one order. I need to go by Dollar Tree for really some eBay stuff. I need lint rollers, and I need those dusters. They're about this long and they're maybe that big around, and they have like a, I don't know, a plume on one end of them. I need that just to clean up a few items, and I need to go by Walmart just for a couple things. And then I guess I'm going to come back home and list more items that probably won't sell, so I don't know. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. As always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.